This whole year and even last year, Gunna has been quietly winning, but his counterparts Thug and Baby and others aren't hitting the same highs. Here's why. What's going on, y'all? It's willarmani. Hope everybody's doing well today. If you are, please make sure to subscribe. Got more content coming on the way. Let's get into it. Even during tough times in the industry, Gunna's streams still stay strong, are growing, and are doing so much better than his counterparts. But why is that the case? When it was first announced that Gunna was attached to this RICO case, even I myself was kind of looking at it like, this is kind of strange because yeah, Gunna is a part of YSL, the label, but even me I wouldn't call myself a fan, but as a viewer of hip-hop, I wasn't really looking at Gunna as somebody who was directly attached to things going on in YSL. He was just kind of repping the brand, but not everything that got deeper. When everything did get deeper and he took the plea deal, I wasn't looking at it as, oh my gosh, he snitched. I was looking at like, oh, well, he got attached to something that he wasn't really a part of. So when it came down to him going to see his life flash before his eyes and getting locked up, like of course he's gonna take a plea deal. Now I also want to give you context. I am not somebody who knows much about street things. I'm not somebody who's invested in that in my own life. So I know that a lot of people would say that I don't have a say in how that type of stuff works. But here's what I'm gonna say as somebody who listens to music and somebody who is very aware of things that are going on in rap. As a listener, majority of people don't really care when it comes to the street rules and what goes and what doesn't go, mainly because it doesn't affect the music. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. When it came to 6ix9ine snitching, it was a little different because 6ix9ine always portrayed himself as this big bad gangster, this big bad person who will hurt you, your mother, and your mother's mother. Like, it was always this big thing with 6ix9ine. But with Gunna, he never really flexed that he was this hard person. He never really flexed that he was shooting up people. He was always just talking about money, getting to the bag, and he was always very humble even beforehand. So when this all happened and he took this deal, a lot of the street people and gang people were saying things, but what a lot of people notice is that they'll compare him and 6ix9ine when it comes to the snitching thing, but it's very different because Gunna was never saying that he was doing any of this crazy stuff. What we also have to keep in mind is Gunna is being very mature about this whole situation. He's staying in his own lane. Since he's been out, he's released some of the best music in his career, and it just makes sense as to why he's growing compared to his counterparts. A Gift and a Curse, One of One, and the last one, all of these projects have been, to me personally, the projects that actually made me become fans of him, because before these projects, before he was even locked up, I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of Gunna, but now when I listen to this music, I could tell that as soon as he got out, he became very hungry and he realized the only way that people are going to mess with him is if he's putting out quality music, which he did. I think a really big part of why Gunna is successful compared to his counterparts is because he stays out of the way, he stays in his own lane, and he doesn't really say anything that's gonna steer people away from the music. It's really just look at me grow, look at me doing well, look at me being healthy, and look at me focused on the music. It's not look at these street antics, it's not look at me involved in this drama. And I think the issue with his counterparts, which I'm gonna keep saying counterparts, but really it's people like Thug and Lil Baby who are hating on him, is that Thug has been out for a minute now. He's been out for, I'm gonna say, almost a year, I think. Don't quote me on that, but he's been out long enough to put out a project, to put out an EP, to put out something to prove that he's been gone for a while, but he's still great at making music and he's here to stay. Now, I want to say this very clearly. I'm not gonna knock Thug or Baby. Lil Baby has put out some great music, and there's a reason why his name is so known. Same thing with Young Thug. Thug has put out legendary albums, Thug has put out legendary songs, and has done some amazing features, both of them respectfully. But they have been on a very slow decline when it comes to their public perception. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think that their music has been decreasing in quality like crazy, but the truth is that the public perception of them hasn't been the best recently. So when they're talking all of this shit about Gunna, the only thing that people care about now is the music, and I think Thug kind of got that confused because a lot of people were supporting Thug during his trial. A lot of people were supporting Thug during his RICO mishap. But what I don't think he realizes is that as he's been away, the whole street influence on rap and the whole follow gang rules and everything like that, anything that has to do with street is slowly being phased out of rap in a way where it's not being phased out, like nobody cares about it. There's always going to be a fan base and there's always going to be a path for those types of artists. But what's happening now is I believe there's a bit of street rap fatigue where nobody really cares about if you follow these gang rules or if you don't or not. I mean, if you're invested in that and you're in that life, I understand that's what you follow, that's what you do. And that's a whole different life that I don't understand, so I can't really say too much about it. But what I can say is, from a music listener's perspective, nobody cares about if somebody snitched or not anymore, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people who listen to this music, they're not thinking about that. They're just listening to the music. And Gunna is putting out great music. So when we see Thug and Baby talking all all this shit, the only thing that we can really look at is, well, baby, you haven't released music that we want to hold on to yet, in a long time at least. With Thug, he hasn't released anything at all since he's been out. I mean, he's done some features and maybe he's done a single, but he really hasn't done anything to make him talking all of this smack on his old counterpart justified. But I'm not gonna say that they're losing. They're not losing. They're just not keeping the same momentum that Gunna is keeping right now. Gunna is focused on the music. He's making great songs, he's doing great features, and he's always been good at that, but he's doing better and he's getting more and more locked into his sound. Now, what I will say is, the last one, his most recent project, did I enjoy it? Yes. Am I starting to feel the Gunna fatigue? Yes and no. My thing here is that I think Gunna is a highly capable artist. I think that he has shown and proven to us that he can do more than his counterparts. He could do more than people who put him on. But I think now we are at a point where I want to hear a differentiation in his production, in his beat selection. I want to hear a differentiation, if not in the beats, in his vocal inflections, in his melodies. Because there were a few songs on this most recent project where I was straight up like, yo, like I didn't even know the song changed. To the point where the keys sounded the same, the melody sounded the same, the guitar string sounded the same. I don't want to say that that's necessarily a bad thing, because Gunna is one of those artists who he does what he does, he stays in his own lane, and he does that lane very, very well. I say the same thing about Lil Tecca, where Tecca does not switch up very much, and I wish he did, but I can't knock it too much because he does what he does very well. It's not bad, it's not the most amazing thing in the world, but he does what he does well. So can't hate on Gunna for that. But for the next project that he puts out, I am just hoping that I hear something different, something that's a little bit more experimental in his sound. But there's a reason why some artists thrive while others stall, and I think that Gunna is one of those artists who proves that consistency, strategy, and knowing your lane matter more than street smarts and hype alone. I mean, please let me know what you think. Is Gunna really winning, or are Thug and Baby just chasing themselves? I mean, you let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to have a discussion with you. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. I got more content, more videos coming on the way. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram, willarmani with 2 eyes, to check out any of my own music. It's been your boy Willarmani. Please stay positive.